Coming up, Di Matteo on his record breakers, Andy Walker answers your questions, and we look ahead to the fixture against Barnsley. Hello and welcome to Baggies View. I'm Paul Bradley. Chris Lebkowski can't join us today, but I'm joined in the studio instead by Andy Walker. Hi Andy.
Hi Paul.
Now Andy, you were at the game at Crystal Palace on Monday night. Just how did it go?
It was really an enthralling encounter. It was a real cracker of a game, which I don't think people, certainly the neutrals, were expecting. Obviously Palace were fighting for their lives. Albion had a record to go for, which we'll go into in a moment, but not really had a great deal to play for other than that. But what it turned out was end-to-end stuff, chances, a sending off, and it could have been a cricket score to Albion, really, to be honest. And I said I got the match day programme here, and I don't think Palace could have chose a better man for their cover star, because he really was the man of the match, Julian Speroni, their goalkeeper. If it wasn't for him, Albion would have racked up a comfortable victory. Nevertheless, though, the point has taken Albion to the 90 points mark for the first time in their history, which sees them surpass Gary Megson's record back in 2002. So it's just the icing on the cake for an already fantastic season for Albion.
Sheffield Wednesday fans will be thanking them as well, as they've kept Sheffield Wednesday in the fight for survival as well.
Absolutely. Firstly, I think some people have joked that Marek Cech, who cleared off a last gasp chance from Darren Ambrose for a Palace winner, will be awarded the freedom of Sheffield if Wednesday stay up on Sunday. Not sure about that, but also intriguingly, it's done a favour to a man who was touted to be the preferred choice as Albion boss during the summer. Obviously, the job went to Roberto Di Matteo. Alan Irvine has claimed he was offered the job and turned it down. Albion deny that. Nevertheless, Alan Irvine's now at Sheffield Wednesday and facing League One football, and the Baggies have done him a favour.
Now, have Albion got much left to play for this season? You mentioned records earlier on.
Yeah.
Tell us about those records.
Well, there is one more record really left to go for. If they win against Barnsley on Sunday, then they'll chalk up the best ever points tally for a second place team in the Championship level. That would, something not the biggest or most proudest of records, but it's a record nevertheless. Albion have also scored in every single fixture of 2010 so far, so I'm sure they'll want to keep that up. Di Matteo said after Palace that it was within their right, and it was only right for him to fill the strongest team and to continue the integrity of the Championship, and I'm sure he'll do exactly the same against Barnsley.
Well, some fascinating stats there, Andy. We caught up with Di Matteo after the Palace game, and here's what he had to say.
Well, we certainly had enough chances to win the game, and we probably feel like we could have won the game, and we should have scored probably the second goal with the number of chances that we created. For the integrity of the season, I think it was our duty to play the best team available, and players showed again a tremendous attitude tonight, and I think it's only fair, to be honest. The players deserve that because they've worked very hard this season and they've been magnificent, and it's a great result for this group of players.
Well, those are the thoughts of Roberto Di Matteo. Now it's time for your questions. We've had a few in this week. Firstly, one on Twitter from Scott, and Andy, he's asking, he wants to know how many players will West Brom get in for next season. He would think we'd like to see a goalkeeper, possibly another centre half, and take a look at Reed, Watson, and maybe even another striker. Yeah,
well, first I think it's already clear to see that silly season has started with Albion. I think my colleague Chris Lebkowski has already alluded to the fact that there's some of the names that are already being linked to Albion for next season are just frankly ludicrous. David James was one, and there's no real chance of that because again, these types of players' wage demands just don't match with what Albion pay. Jimmy Bullard was another one. He's on 45 grand a week at Hull. Unless he wants to completely halve that, there's no chance of him coming. And I think Bullard's already said that he'd stick with Hull anyway if they go down. So firstly, I think the fact that the names that are coming out now, the majority of them aren't true. And as Chris has already alluded to as well, I think he did a blog on it midweek, the fact that we won't really start to see any of Albion's genuine targets until after the World Cup, probably, because there's a bit of time to go away, and when the Albion's targets are likely not to be any big name stars, they're likely to be the much less profile players. In terms of actual positions, certainly a goalkeeper is a priority, a backup to Scott Carson. Dean Kiley will still be on the playing staff, but he's going to be third keeper. Full back, I suppose it will be needed as well. Stephen Reid, I don't think it'll be any great surprise if he's offered a permanent deal. Ben Watson possibly coming back on loan again, although I noticed he started to play for Wigan a bit more. So there's a few possibilities there, but I think the message to fans at the moment is to not believe everything they read in the Nationals.
Thanks for that for now. We'll now take a quick look ahead at the Barnsley game, which is coming up. What does that hold in store for the Baggies?
Well, I think, as was the case with Palace, Di Matteo's out for revenge. He's drummed this home to his players because Palace beat them early in the season and Barnsley beat them early in the season. Obviously, they've already get revenge against Palace by preventing them securing their safety. I suppose the same will be against Barnsley because Albion have been obviously shown that they've been a real force this season. They don't particularly want any clubs to do the double over them, so that's enough of a reason to go all out for victory. As I've already also pointed out earlier on in the show, there is that record for the points haul for a second place team in the Championship. But I think besides that, front of the stands, as it will end the season, always has a bit of a party atmosphere to it, quite a laid back approach. That will be the feeling from the stands. The fans will be there to enjoy themselves and hopefully it'll be a sunny day. But when it comes to the actual playing side of things, I'm sure Di Matteo's side will take it very seriously indeed.
Well, thanks for stepping in today, Andy, and thank you for joining us. We'll be back again next week to look over that match against Barnsley. We'll see you then.